Master Destroyer is a project from a good friend of mine that I went to high school with named Shane McConnell. It is a little bit thrash, a little bit of death metal. It's a thing where he really wanted to push boundaries, push borders, and really try to just get right into your face. And I think that's a really really good thing on his behalf. I've known Shane for about 12 years now. I was in grade 9, he was in grade 11, and we went to the same high school. There was a select few guys that were just so passionate about heavy metal music, even though that was one of the most popular music genres in my high school. And it was probably Shane that was like the head of that clique in terms of how passionate everyone was about the music genre. And it was actually Shane that prompted me to take up playing guitar, making music. Because of course I listened to people like Ace Frehley, but he was so much older than me. He'd been doing this for like 30 years, and it just wasn't really all that encouraging at the time. Whereas Shane, who was just 2 years older than me, already really good. There was more encouragement right there. So this right here is called Imperial Spirit. He was inspired by bands like Kurtic Slaughter, Corner, Razor, Loveland's Creation, Voivod, hardcore punk bands too. And you might also hear a little bit of Queens of the Stone Age stuff in with it too. Yeah, I think you'll be able to hear some Queens of the Stone Age stuff. Um, Now, Master Destroyer, I'll be honest, whenever I can't help but think of Master Exploder from Tenacious D. I do not need no microphone. But just because I've heard Master Exploder more times Master Destroyer, almost same amount of syllables. So yeah, I just thought that I should. I just thought that I should say that. It's no insult, just something that I wanted to say. Now, this does have a really cool artwork. Yesterday, when I reviewed the band Hangman's Graveyard, their album The Gallows, the drummer and lyricist Gary also happens to be the guy that drew the Imperial Spirit album cover. So as you can see, it's a bunch of people in shadows going on like a staircase, heading upwards, going to an eye, which means death, really. And the people in shadows are all businessmen. You work, you die, and the aliens. Well, as you can see, there's UFOs and there's aliens about to absorb them. I think that's actually really clever stuff. As you can see, the whole drawing of it is really really good too. I can't wait for this to actually make it onto shelves because I think that it's just going to be one of those things where you just pick it up and just get right to it. Yeah, one thing that one other thing that I received yesterday, a little bit of feedback when I did the Gallows album review, was to talk about the lyrics. Frankly, I agreed with that. It was my first album review. There was lots of flaws with it, but obviously it's not going to be my only album review. I'm doing this one right now, of course. Yeah, I want to get into the lyrics of this because yeah, a lot of times lyrics can make or break a song. They really help enhance everything, and they will help enhance this review. Most of the songs on this, well, just about all of them, were written by Shane himself, and um, the guitar playing also done by Shane himself. Now, he is such a good guitar player. I've heard him do so much things in the past. I just totally love it. Also, Tom Weapon is the guy that plays drums, and I don't know Tom Weapon, but he's a total beast on it. Shane also plays bass, which he is also really good at. It was a little bit of a surprise, but not much of a surprise because because bass guitar and regular guitar help each other out for the most part. And yeah, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that Shane's such a good bassist because he's such a good guitar player. I'm just so used to hearing him play six strings. So yeah. Oh, if okay, this is from Blank Thought Records on BandLab. So definitely look up Blank Thought Records from BandLab. Major shout out, major big plug also. So I really hope that I got everything in order because when I did the album review of The Gallows, I mean, it might have been on YouTube, but apparently those songs were out of order. So I hope that today I get everything in perfect synchronization. So the album starts off with Birth of Chaos, which is an opening instrumental. And I totally loved it. Like I always like when they place when they place the instrumentals at the beginning of an album. Like okay, Iron Maiden is my personal favorite band, and in Power Slave when they placed the instrumental one, not at the beginning, I didn't think that was. I mean, it's a great song. It should have been at the beginning. But back to Master Destroyer, Imperial Chaos, Birth of Chaos, great one. Next up is the Great Reset, which is about how everything has been the past 2 years in COVID-19, like how the economy has been drained and everything. Now, um, COVID-19 is something it's going to be in the history books. It's just got to be. People might be a whole bunch of people might be trying to capture their own experiences in this, and yeah, this is a very unique time for us. And the Great Reset, it's about COVID, and I thought that it being about it, but being about COVID-19 was really good stuff. But also, the guitar solo is near the end of it, and it was actually at the end. Sorry, I thought that was really good because it's usually like near the middle of it, so it ending with it's a good move. I liked it. How we operate is about not conforming. Um, it is a really good one. The vocal harmonies are what really got to me with it. Okay, I like harmonies when they're done right, and they do it right here. When vocal harmonies are done in metal music, I'm a sucker for it. Faulty Technology has Scott Wark from Joe Thrasher on vocals. Now, Yeah, I do remember listening to Joe Thrasher, but I'm embarrassed to say I originally thought that Joe Thrasher was a solo artist because it's a person's name, Joe Thrasher. But then when Shane actually told me, no, Joe Thrasher's the name of the band, I was really embarrassed. But yeah, Joe Thrasher, Scott Wark from Joe Thrasher does the vocals on this, and it's a really good one. It's about the failing of technology, and I would call this one the best on the album. Each line is very short, and it gave me a vibe kind of like Venom. Maybe maybe it's just me, but it just did. It sounds a little bit like black metal, but Shane wanted to really experiment, really try to push things down, and got to respect him for it. And frankly, with this one right here, he succeeds because I just called it the best on the album. Empty Stomach, Full Throttle is a commentary of a stream of consciousness about seeing through individuals and their neglect to really put things behind what they want. Like the lack of motivation. You're like, I got to work hard to do things. Now this one, I thought that it was good. But the vocals were a little bit maybe imbalanced is the right word to say. It's just that the drums and the guitar and the bass sound so good, and there's just something a little bit off about the vocals for this one. But it didn't suck. It's a good song. I hope that this does find an audience. Okay, I'm not bashing this, but if I do come across as sounding a little too harsh on this one, it's just because I thought that this could have been the best song on the album. Great motivational lyrics, but the balance between the vocals and the rest of the music just seemed to be a little bit off. World Explosion is a one that pokes fun at society. You could call it a social satire because that's what satire is. It pokes fun at things, and social ones are the most popular kinds of satires. And social satires have been around forever. They're good no matter what. But the way that happened in this album, it just had me going like, all right, yeah, I like it. It's cool. The way that the music happened and reading the lyrics along with it, I really liked it. FYSH, which stands for F Your Social Hierarchy. It's about fake friends, not taking anything from fake friends. Now, this one is it's probably okay. Faulty Technology is my personal favorite song on the album. FYSH is probably my second favorite one. If you like FYSH more, then that's fine. There's going to be a couple of songs that are surefire contenders for the best on the album. To me, it's probably Faulty Technology. FYSH, definitely a contender for it. So, it all just matters. It all just depends on opinion. And to me, it's FYSH. Alchemy for the Insane, sorry, is about creativity. Because, he says creativity is in the soul. And uniqueness. I really like songs that express that express one's true soul and creativity, no matter how weird a person might be. I've always liked that kind of thing. The drums at the beginning are really awesome. Excellent job, Tom Weapon. Short but sweet. And this one is another contender for being the best on the album. Blood Hive is written by Frank Sarchia from Terrasphere, and it's sung by him too. Now, reading the lyrics, it reminded me of a more demented and brutal version of The Fly. Okay, maybe it's just maybe that's just what I interpreted it as being. But so what? You know, it's still great. It's still fun, and Frank's voice in this, it's totally awesome. I love it. Nightmare Machine is about a serial killer who tries to be a normal, everyday man. This might have even deeper lyrics to it, but you know, it's just what I got out of it after listening to it for a few times. This one is this one has a good length to it. Something that I should say is that most of the songs on this album are really short. This one is a length that people might be more used to hearing, and frankly, you know, a song "Nightmare Machine" is not a badass sounding name. That sounds so cool. I even told that to Shane when when I was going through the things. I was like, okay, Nightmare Machine, that sounds badass, man. So like the title alone really drew me right in. So it's like a great job on that. Death Seconds, not Death Sentence, Death Slack Seconds is about seconds before you die. I don't know. This one I really liked, just because, like, you ever like something and you can't even explain why it just hits you the right way. It's just magic the right way. Death Seconds is the way it is that. GovNet has a nice, calm, sinister opening to it, but as it gets on a little bit more, it gets more heavy as one might expect from this album. It is another social satire, as you might want to say. It's almost as good as the previous one, but yeah, it's a World Explosion is a tiny bit better, but you know, if you like GovNet more than that, that's totally fine. Just, as I said, just a matter of opinion. Puzzle of Reality has guest vocalist and lyricist Frank Sarchia again. This one is another good time song, and it is a little bit also about the world's decay. Nothing wrong with that, but I wouldn't really call this one to be a satire per se. But you know what? You know, regardless, I don't know Frank or Terrasphere, but his vocals in this are top notch. I'm definitely going to go back and listen to this band because he is so good right here. The new language is it's about the end of time, the bleak essence of silence, and the confusion into a new realm. It's instrumental. It starts off a little bit odd, but soft, because you know it's like when you have the head of a guitar and you're playing it like it's right above the nut of the guitar, and that's what it kind of sounded like. I'm not sure if that's actually what Shane did, but it kind of sounded a little bit like that. It stays calm throughout the whole thing. It's not as heavy as the others, but it gets more evil and more demented sounding, even though it is a pretty calm song. So yeah, those are the songs on the album, and I just want to talk about what I thought of everything as a whole. Okay, Shane does most of the singing except for the ones that I mentioned, and I will have to say that I will have to say that Shane's vocals need a little bit more mastering, especially when lined up against well, like when being in the same thing as Scott Wark and Kevin Sarchia. It's but you know it's all just a work in progress. I know that the guitaring is probably Shane's biggest thing, but the actual singing portion could use some work. I'm not out bashing it or anything. I'm just saying that um, that that's probably the big flaw on the album on the album was the vocals. But but you know that's just one guy's opinion. I do hope that this eventually does receive a big following to it, as it should. And um, you know, I do know that eventually Shane's vocals are going to really explode. They're going to be just perfect stuff right here. Like I praised Scott and Frank in this, but I think that eventually Shane's vocals are going to be as lethal as his guitar abilities. He's going to be as good of a singer as Scott and Frank. Um, Most of the songs are really short, as I said. Um, I personally didn't mind that. Um, but you know, I'm sure that there are stooges out there that would probably say, "Oh, that song should have been longer and everything. It should have been like double or triple the length." Personally, I thought that it was. I thought that the length of the songs were pretty good, especially necessitating the lyrics behind everything. You know, you don't want to like overdo anything either, and I thought that was perfectly fine with this. Yesterday, when I did the Hangman's Graveyard album, The Gallows, I did what I did. I rated it the same way as I did with my movies, out of 4 stars. I noticed that with albums, it's got to be a very different grading scheme for this. I'll just say a definite listen or a little bit of a skip. Definite listen being obviously something positive, and a skip being don't bother. This one, definitely listen to it. A definite listen, definite thumbs up for me. I'm not just saying this because Shane's been my friend for so long. Even if I wasn't, even if I wasn't, even if I didn't know Shane, this would still be an easy thumbs up for me. I really liked it.